So I'm a little swamped right now. I have to play more Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just did a bunch of yard work. I need to take a shower. I honestly need to wash my towels before I take a shower. It's really just quite hard being me. And then later I have to stream where over 100 people are going to come and hang out with me while I play Call of Duty, potentially donating and dealing with the fact that I don't enunciate words properly. It's gonna be a nightmare. God. You know, beggars can't be choosers though. And when it came to this last season of Modern Warfare, Season 3 to be exact, that's sort of the mentality I had to have. There are some good things and there are some bad things, and in this simple gameplay commentary, we're going to discuss them. So let's look back on the gameplay that I got over and throughout Season 3, and we'll talk about it. Yeah. Thank you for making me a part of your free time. I look good from this angle, but I don't know what's happening when I turn my head. If this part of my hair is like all fucked up, I don't know what I'll do. Find a new place at work. Alright, so Season 3 of Modern Warfare. What did we learn? What did I discover? What were my experiences? What are my general thoughts and opinions? Well, it's pretty simple, but I want to talk about it anyway. The gameplay you're seeing here is from Season 3, so some of it might be reused, but you know what? I think that's kind of fitting, because it's a review of Modern Warfare over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, let's get into this. Starting off with an important question, did Modern Warfare's problems improve throughout this season? Unfortunately, not really. Now, I'm not going to really hold too many server problems over Infinity Ward's head. I know because of COVID, they're not working at full capacity, and so server outages are going to be more common, and they're going to last longer. Same goes for matchmaking issues, or really any other issues that you come across that are on a technical level that seem like they could be fixed within an evening. Yeah, they're going to take longer than that, and that's sort of a problem that we have to just deal with right now. I'm not going to hold that over Infinity Ward. But their updates breaking the game, that still happened, and their updates not having proper patch notes kept happening. In my opinion, this season, it was the most egregious examples of terrible patch notes. Keeping things out that nobody would have asked for, and keeping things out that people would have been excited to read, so I really don't get it. It seems manipulative at this point, and it just seems intentional. I don't know how else to say it. When the problem is this consistent and this heavily reported, I don't know how it would be an accident. Because of poor communication and bad patch notes, the community became more paranoid, this time over connection issues and aim assist. And it feels like every other day I read a tweet where somebody says that skill-based matchmaking feels increased, or somebody feels like it is reduced. All that tells me is that paranoia levels are rising as people get less and less information. Now, when it comes to the player base, I will say the player base of Modern Warfare has started to irritate me a little bit, but I'm also adopting a sort of can't beat 'em, join 'em sort of attitude, which is maybe not healthy. But the Modern Warfare player base throughout Season 3 got pretty irritating. I'm getting marksman rifled just about every lobby. I know everyone says it's super skill based and there's, almost no margin for error, but it's happening every game, every lobby. People consistently land their shots. Either aim assist is way too damn strong on sniper rifles or the marksman rifles, or the handling traits on the guns are just too damn intuitive, but nobody's missing shots. Nobody's losing gunfights because they chose a precision weapon. I round a corner, I see the tac laser, I die. And when I'm using something like the MP7 or M13 or something along those lines, something that gets like a 4-shot kill, I often end up losing gunfights against them, especially if they're ready for me. A lot of people aren't rapidly quickscoping, they're just holding an angle on you and know they can one-tap you. If you're capable of landing your first shot with an AR, like something like the FAL, you're better off using something like a Kar 98 because you can just kill somebody so fast they can't even really respond to it. With the right setup, it takes 2 seconds to get your Mark II up into somebody's face and pull the trigger, and that just gets really old because they do that at mid-range, longer ranges, and close range. But those are just marksman rifles. It's not really my big issue, but it is every lobby. I do think MP5 and M4 usage is the same that it has been, but I have noticed a couple more oddballs. Maybe I'm just focusing on it more, but I have seen some more VLK rogues, some Bisons. I've seen a couple good FAL players and some solid FAMAS users. I'm not only seeing MP5 and M4, at least throughout the end of the season. I think as the season starts coming to a close, people start to experiment with more weapons because they're just looking for a way to keep themselves entertained. But it's crazy how many free guns we've gotten and how many times I see people using those free guns and how that just completely pales in comparison to how many people I see using the MP5 and M4. I hope the next guns they add are versatile and maybe even overpowered just so I can die by something else for God's sake. But moving on, just like everything else in this video, this could be confirmation bias, but I've seen a lot more lethal and tactical spam. I die a lot by Simtexes and concussion grenades, and it's getting to the point that I just want to run restock stims and EOD and spotter, or battle hardened even. I don't know, I'm getting flashbang constantly, and it's getting me to the point where I'm throwing C4 and flashbangs around corners blindly because I don't want to get hit. Lethals and tacticals that you don't need to sacrifice anything for are absolutely bad ideas. They're just a bad concept. I mean, we see this in Black Ops 4, COD World War II, go back to Modern Warfare 3. Just giving people lethals and tacticals that they don't need to sacrifice anything for is a bad idea. Also, I want to start running trophy systems a lot more when I'm playing objective game modes. Maybe I should have already, but it's seeming absolutely necessary now. I either get hit by C4, a Simtex, or an RPG, a gas grenade, or a flashbang every time I go into a populated area. Maybe it's confirmation bias, maybe it's because I've been streaming more the last month. Throughout this last season I've been streaming a lot more Modern Warfare, so maybe I'm just more aware of it, but I really have a lot of trouble with the amount of lethal and tactical spam I'm dealing with, and explosive spam in general. So my current experience with tryhards and skill-based matchmaking is a little bit different this season compared to last. I've noticed I'm playing with a lot more Damascus users, I'm playing with a lot more jumpy MP5 users, people that, they jump shot around corners and they slide into gunfights, they have a sawed-off 725 and an M4, and I do feel like my lobbies are getting sweatier, and I know that I'm not getting much better at the game, so I don't know what's happening, but it feels like my lobbies are increasingly sweaty. And then ask anybody that watches my streams. Almost every stream I have like one match where it puts me up against people that can't aim, can't shoot, can't pay attention, and I just kick their ass. So there is a feeling of matchmaking manipulation in my play sessions this season that I'm noticing and focusing on more than I did in Season 2. But the quality of my enemies certainly skyrocketed. I feel like I'm going up against a lot better players recently. Maybe that's just me, maybe I'm just doing a little bit worse. Again, this entire video is going to be confirmation bias, it's going to be biased in general, it's going to be subjective, it's my experience, it's what I think about when I think of this season and my current play sessions with it. So, recent play sessions, my past play sessions, my play sessions throughout this season. Hopefully this all makes sense. So let's talk about content. Content was pretty damn good this season. I'm actually pretty happy. Backlot, Sawmill, Anya Incursion, and Hard Hat are great additions to the game. No, they don't play perfectly in every game mode, and you do have to commit the cardinal sin of adapting your playstyle to each map. You can't play each one the same, but I like that. I think Hard Hat is great. It plays like it did back in Modern Warfare 3. It's a good addition to the game. Backlot plays like Backlot. It's all about building control, just like a lot of Call of Duty 4 maps are. And Sawmill has some really bad main spawn areas, but I don't mind the map in general. I think it's pretty to look at, and it doesn't play too poorly in game modes like Hardpoint, for instance. I'm a little disappointed that we got one original map, 2 remade maps, and a re-release segment of a pre-existing map that was already in the game. Yeah. Isle 9 as a gunfight map is fine. I don't really play gunfight, and tiny maps are sort of a headache to me, so yeah, it's whatever. Isle 9 is Isle 9. You can probably play it once and have the experience of playing it 100 times. But I'm happy with the content we got. Sawmill, Backlot, and Hard Hat are great additions to 6v6 multiplayer, and I do enjoy playing on them. Again, not in every game mode, but it's pretty damn good. And the weapons we got, the Renetti, the Mark 9, MK9, Bruin Saw LMG, and the SKS DMR are all really good guns. Like, I enjoy the Bruin. The Bruin MK9 is probably my favorite LMG in the game right now. I just like it more than anything. I mean, it's the Holger, but like if the Holger was a good LMG, and then you can convert it to a heavy 60 round assault rifle that has a good rate of fire, good damage model. It's not the best at anything. It's not a better M4, sorry Noah J, but it is a really solid gun. The SKS is so good I think it needs a little bit of a nerf, and now that the Renettis have gotten nerfed, I think they're fine where they are. You can set up the Renetti as a close range spamming tool with the burst and akimbo, or you can do a long barrel and you can be a little bit more precise with it and have it be a little bit more of a reliable sidearm. I should say a versatile sidearm. When it comes to the SKS though, like I said, I do think it needs a little bit of a nerf. I think that thing is way too versatile. I think it's way too easy to use for how much damage it's putting out, and I hate the fact that it just kicked the EBR's ass up and down the street. There's no reason for that. Also, no real fun conversion kit for it, kind of ruins it for me as well. Also, shout out to Frankensmithing. The ability to take parts from different variants and put them on other variants is phenomenal. Thank you, Infinity Ward. That is a really good step for customization, and it honestly makes your purchases of variants and your grinding in the battle pass towards variants a little bit more enticing because then you can really customize your guns the way you want. If you don't care about cosmetics, then don't care about cosmetics and you don't have to worry about it. But for me, I like that I can put different types of barrels and stocks on my guns and mix and match and get creative. And I've come up with some pretty visually appealing guns in my opinion. Now we just need a weapon inspect feature because this weapon customization is fucking awesome. This isn't an in-depth review of everything in Season 3, but I wanted to share my experience throughout Season 3 while sharing some old gameplay clips before I delete them off my hard drive. I think Season 3 was really good for content. It kept me playing, there was stuff to grind towards and unlock camos and attachments for, powerful and fun weapons to play with, and new maps that do add a bit of variety to your rotations and your play sessions. Honestly, great additions, kept me hooked. I just wish I could say better things about the dev support and the quality of matches I'm getting. I didn't mention how many times this season I got put in games that are about to be over and my team is getting smashed into their spawn and have 9 points, the enemy team has like 60. Like, that's been happening all season, but I want to make that its own dedicated video because when you think about the fact that there's probably a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that everybody has their own invisible protected skill bracket for skill-based matchmaking, and then you think, that matchmaking system has to be really complex, right? So then why is it still so bad it puts me in losing games in the last like 2 minutes? So hopefully you guys can see how I could get like a 15-minute rant out of that. So we're gonna wait and see, and if this issue persists into Season 4, I'll really have a case to make. So yeah, content was good, dev support wasn't, and the player base is sort of getting to be more and more asshole-ish, and that sort of happens, you know, as Call of Duty goes on throughout its life cycle. But I think it's irritating how I complained and got told I was stupid for complaining about everybody getting free lethals and tacticals, and now it's sort of starting to ruin my experience. What now, like 6 months, 7 months later? Yeah, we're going into Season 4, and I'm like, hey, why the hell did they do that? And they can't undo it now because it'll feel like they're taking something away, and that's just irritating, isn't it? I have a video coming out about that as well. So, good content, bad dev support, and the community's getting on my nerves a little bit, but other than that, Season 3 I would give a solid 6 out of 10. It's good when it comes to content, and the bad dev support didn't ruin my experience, it just puts a little bitter taste in my mouth when I think about the game, and that doesn't need to be there. The paranoia is going to really hurt the player base of this game, but whatever, I don't think they care, because most people don't care, and that's fair, but I care because I'm a content creator, and I really give a shit about this game for some reason. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. See you when I see you. Let me know what you think about Season 3 down below. This outro was terribly long and messy. Goodbye.